taught that fairness wins, that the right way is the noble way, that goodness leads to reward. But Machiavelli never believed that. He didn't write for the righteous. He wrote for the ruler. And rulers, he said, must learn how not to be good if they want to survive. Because in the real world, it's not the clean player who wins. It's the one who understands the rules and breaks them when it counts. This is the core Machiavellian truth. Those who win don't always play fair. They play effectively. They play in the shadows while others fight in the light. And if you don't learn how to navigate darkness, if you refuse to play dirty, you will lose to someone who doesn't hesitate. That doesn't mean you become evil. It means you become dangerous. Because being good in a world ruled by manipulation is a losing strategy unless your goodness is backed by the threat of retaliation. The wolf who wears a smile still has teeth underneath. Machiavelli warned, men are ungrateful, fickle, liars. If you depend on their loyalty, you're already exposed. But if you control their fear, you control the outcome. That's why winners often look like traitors to the weak. They're not afraid to cut ties, to lie when the truth costs them everything, to shake hands and still keep a blade behind their back. Not because they enjoy it, because they understand power. You've seen it in politics, in business, in life. The man who says all the right things gets devoured. The man who flatters everyone gets forgotten. But the one who knows when to betray, when to mislead, when to break trust for the greater gain, he climbs, he rules, he becomes untouchable. Machiavelli never said this would feel good. He said it would work. And that's what most people don't want to admit, that there are moments where virtue is a liability, where morality becomes weakness, where telling the truth costs you everything, and silence earns you everything. Those moments define the winner. This is not about cheating for the sake of chaos. This is about understanding when to break the rules for survival, when to deceive in order to protect, when to act with ruthlessness to preserve your position, because the man who refuses to ever get dirty will eventually be used by those who don't share his ethics. Look around. You'll see good men doing all the right things and staying broke, overlooked, replaceable. You'll see calculated men, colder, sharper, bolder, walking into positions of power. Why? Because they learned the darker side of strategy, the part you weren't taught in school, the part that Machiavelli spent his entire life studying. He wrote, "A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything is bound to come to ruin among so many who are not good." In other words, if you play clean in a dirty world, you will be destroyed. So what does this look like in real life? It means keeping information to yourself, even when pressed. It means lying about your next move so no one can block it. It means pretending to be weaker than you are, to lower the guard of your enemies. It means shaking hands with people you plan to outmaneuver later. It means appearing agreeable while you build your advantage. It means being 2 steps ahead, not just with strategy, but with psychology. That's what winners understand. They don't just play the game, they shape it. While others follow rules, they write them. While others hope to be liked, they make themselves feared. While others cry betrayal, they celebrate results. They know how to weaponize kindness. They know how to fake weakness. They know when to disappear and when to strike. And they never apologize for doing what must be done. This is the darkness no one talks about. But every king, every general, every empire builder in history has embraced it. Machiavelli wasn't teaching people to be evil. He was teaching them to survive in a world where most people lie about their motives. He was showing the blueprint of reality. And the reality is simple. If you don't learn how to play dirty, you'll be ruled by someone who does. So here's the question. Are you still trying to win the clean way while others use every trick to beat you? Are you still hoping the world will reward you for being honest while your rivals manipulate perception, power, and outcome? Are you still bleeding in the name of virtue while they walk away with your crown? Then maybe it's time you learn what Machiavelli knew. Because the world isn't kind. It's strategic. And the winners? They know how to look clean while playing dirty. Once you accept that the world rewards those willing to play dirty, you begin to see the game differently. You stop being shocked by betrayal. You stop complaining about unfairness. You stop expecting loyalty from people who are loyal only to their own advantage. You start thinking like a ruler, not a servant, not a victim, not a moral mascot for people who would trade you for convenience. This is the mindset Machiavelli instilled in every prince. Trust no one blindly. Never assume good intentions. Prepare for disloyalty and build your power so that betrayal carries consequences. Weak men hope to be treated fairly. Strong men structure their positions so they don't need to be. The truth is, people are predictable. They seek gain. They avoid loss. They follow strength. They take advantage of softness. If you're honest about this, brutally honest, you stop trying to win with virtue alone. You start studying leverage, studying perception, studying how to influence without revealing your full hand. Machiavelli said it clearly, everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. That's the leverage of appearance. That's the game of optics. And the man who plays dirty understands it better than anyone. He wears masks. He speaks with double meanings. He knows when to flatter and when to cut. And because of that, he gains ground while others waste time defending their reputation. But this doesn't mean becoming hollow. It means building two layers. One they can see and one they'll never touch. The outer layer is your image. That's where you appear calm, agreeable, moral, kind. It's the public face, crafted to avoid unnecessary friction. But the inner layer is where your real power lives. That's where your plans are made. That's where your loyalties are tested. That's where you decide who to destroy, who to reward, and who to keep guessing. The weak man only has one layer. He is the same everywhere. Transparent, predictable, easy to target. The strong man plays a double game. Machiavelli admired those who could appear virtuous while operating with precision behind the scenes. A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. This is the duality: cunning and strength, deception and force. Appear harmless while becoming dangerous. This is how you win in a world that is neither fair nor forgiving. And here's what most never understand. The man who refuses to play dirty doesn't stay clean. He simply gets played. His purity doesn't protect him. It exposes him. He trusts too soon. He gives too much. He forgives too easily. And one day, he wakes up bitter, broken, wondering why the world didn't return his goodness. But the world doesn't reward intention. It rewards impact. If you want to protect your goodness, you must surround it with walls. You must defend it with weapons. You must test people before giving them access. That is not cold. That is survival. It means saying less, revealing less, waiting longer, watching more. You listen carefully and you give slowly. And when someone tests your limits, you respond with sharpness, not softness, because your softness is not for everyone. It's a privilege, and those who try to exploit it must learn it comes with a price. This is how the dirty player stays in power. He punishes betrayal, he rewards loyalty, he plays favorites, but only with those who have earned it. He uses silence like a sword. He doesn't get emotional, he gets strategic. So the question is, are you willing to stop expecting fairness from a world that never promised it? Are you ready to stop leading with vulnerability and start leading with intelligence? Are you ready to play the game as it is, not as you wish it were? Because Machiavelli made it clear, there is no glory in being devoured. There is no virtue in being used. If you want to be good, but don't be naive. Cover your kindness in armor. Let your smile hide calculation. Let your generosity be precise. And when it's time to strike, don't hesitate. The man who plays dirty does not apologize for surviving. He does not beg for forgiveness. He does not explain his motives to people who would never do the same for him. He simply wins. The man who plays dirty is not reckless. He is surgical. Every move has purpose. Every deception has timing. Every withdrawal, every silence, every word measured. The outsider may see chaos. The fool may see luck. But those who understand power see the design, the intelligence behind the mask, the war being fought with subtlety, not noise. Machiavelli didn't just endorse playing dirty. He studied it as an art, because power in its purest form is about control, not just over people, but over perception, over timing, over the battlefield. No one else even realizes they're standing on. And the greatest weapon in that kind of war is confusion. The dirty player thrives in ambiguity. He says just enough to be misunderstood. He creates doubt in others. He introduces uncertainty into every room he walks into. While the honest man clarifies, the strategist clouds, not because he's afraid of the truth, but because he understands that clarity can be used against you. This is the power of controlled deception. You don't lie to everyone. You lie where it matters. You lie to protect the real play. You lie so that the target walks willingly into the trap you built for them. Meanwhile, you observe, you learn, you position. That's what separates the foolish manipulator from the dangerous one. Intent. The fool manipulates to feel clever. The strategist manipulates to win. Every smile hides a calculation. Every I understand is a probe. Every alliance is temporary, until the position is secured. And when the moment arrives, he moves, swiftly, quietly, without warning. You must understand this. The strongest plays are not loud. They are silent. The world thinks betrayal happens in a scream. No, it happens in a handshake. It happens in a nod. It happens when the other man thinks he's safe, because that's when he's weakest. The most effective betrayal is the one that feels like trust until it's too late. That's what winners understand. They don't stab you when you're armed. They stab you when you've disarmed yourself in their presence. That's why the smile is more dangerous than the threat. Why the calm man at the table is the one you should fear the most. Machiavelli advised rulers to be both fox and lion. The lion to instill fear, the fox to avoid traps. But it is the fox that survives longest, because cunning extends your reign, and people respect what they don't fully understand. So what does this look like in the real world? It's the entrepreneur who makes the competition feel safe, then launches a better product overnight. It's the negotiator who speaks softly, listens carefully, then extracts everything in the final clause. It's the leader who nods to your idea, lets you speak, and then uses your own argument to undermine you later. It's subtle, it's invisible, and it's devastating. And it's only possible when you stop trying to look good and start trying to win. You must let go of your need to be seen as pure. Pure men get crucified. They get set up, they get played, and then they get rewritten in history as fools who are too good for this world. You don't want that story. You want the one where your enemies still wonder how you outmaneuvered them, quietly, decisively, without giving them a second chance. So here's the shift. You don't show your whole hand, ever. You don't reveal your real plan, ever. You don't tell them how you feel. You show them what you want them to see, because real power is in silence. It's in the blank space that others try to fill. And if you can control that space, if you can make them guess, you've already won. That's what the strategist does. He makes them believe one thing while preparing another. He gives them the script while writing the ending in private. And when the moment comes, he doesn't hesitate. He doesn't ask for fairness. He doesn't ask for applause. He finishes the move, ends the conflict, claims the position, then disappears again into calm, because that's what power looks like. Not chaos, but control. There's a moment every powerful man faces, where he must choose between being liked and being in control. The weak choose to be liked, The strategist chooses control. Why? Because the man who needs approval gives it too much power. He becomes easy to manipulate, easy to guilt, easy to predict. The man who plays dirty doesn't fall for that trap. He doesn't need your praise. He needs your compliance. And once you understand that praise is just noise, but leverage is everything, you stop playing for applause and start playing for position. Machiavelli taught that reputation is useful, but only when it serves your purpose. He never said to protect it at all costs. Sometimes you let them misunderstand you. Let them assume the worst. Let them spread rumors. Why? Because while they're busy talking, you're moving. And that's what dirty players understand better than anyone. Words are cheap, position is priceless. You win not by arguing, but by arranging the board so that your silence becomes louder than their noise. That's the essence of power. Quiet, strategic, inevitable. But to do this, you must kill the need to explain yourself. Stop justifying. Stop defending. Stop offering clarity to people who intend to twist your words. Let them speculate. Let them assume, because every time they misread your silence, you gather power. People want you to explain so they can trap you, so they can anchor your words, so they can distort your position and hold it against you. The man who plays dirty sees this trap from a mile away. He speaks only when it benefits him, and when it doesn't, he lets others fill in the blanks with fear, doubt, or confusion. The less they know, the more they imagine, and what they imagine is always more powerful than what you could have said out loud. This is how you build mystique, and mystique is leverage. The fool shows everything, thinking transparency earns trust, but the strategist shows only what's necessary and earns control, because in high-stakes environments, clarity is a gift. You don't give it to everyone. You don't reward curiosity. You protect your information like a weapon. You leak it when it serves you. You conceal it when it serves better. You make your next move feel inevitable, but unpredictable, and the people who watch you chase you, because what's unclear becomes irresistible. Machiavelli knew this. He didn't encourage chaos. He encouraged intentional ambiguity. He advised rulers to be predictable in outcome, but unpredictable in method. The ends justify the means wasn't a call for brutality. It was a call for flexibility, a reminder that morality must be subordinated to strategy when power is at stake. But here's the catch. Playing dirty only works if your emotions don't sabotage you. If you get reactive, if you seek revenge for ego, if you speak just to soothe your pride, you break the strategy, you become predictable. And predictability is weakness. The man who plays dirty wins because he's emotionally detached. He can wait. He can observe. He doesn't lash out. He lets the other person hang themselves while he remains calm. That's why discipline is the foundation of the dirty game. Not impulsiveness, discipline. You smile when you're provoked. You nod when you're lied to. You hold your power while others lose theirs. And then at the right moment you move precisely, without warning, without emotion. That's how you win. So understand this. Your greatest asset isn't just deception. It's patience. The ability to sit in discomfort while others expose themselves. The strength to absorb heat while positioning in silence. The wisdom to wait until the hit matters most. Because if you move too soon, you ruin the game. But if you wait too long, you lose the seat. Timing is everything. The man who plays dirty times his strikes like a surgeon. Not loud, not chaotic, just final. And once you master this, you become untouchable. Not because you're the loudest, not because you're the most feared, but because no one can get close enough to read your playbook. They can't provoke you. They can't predict you. And worst of all for them, they can't stop you. That's the power Machiavelli respected. Not brute force, but psychological warfare with a calm face. This is the level Machiavelli aimed for, not just temporary control, permanent influence. And that kind of influence isn't built on charm, it's built on fear, precision, and unforgettable positioning. You don't just win the game, you become the game. You become the standard, the example, the man others warn their allies about before making a move. And the most dangerous men in any empire aren't the loudest, they're the ones whispered about. Eventually, the man who plays dirty reaches a point where he no longer needs to strike often. He simply needs to exist. His name creates pressure. His silence causes speculation. His presence shapes the room. Because by now, the game is no longer about tactics. It's about reputation. It's about myth. That's not popularity. That's power. That only happens when your previous actions were so decisive, so brutal, so impossible to ignore, that they echo forward. You cut once, but they feel it for years. You betrayed once, but they never trust the same way again. You disappeared once, but your absence still commands more presence than their daily noise. Power that doesn't beg. Power that doesn't explain. Power that doesn't ask for trust. It installs fear and respect in its place. At this level, even your restraint becomes a weapon. But you can only reach that level if you stop playing for fairness. You must play for finality. You must accept that your power must be protected at the cost of being misunderstood, that your strategy must outweigh your desire to be liked, that your legacy cannot be shaped by comfort. It must be carved through consequence. And the man who understands this no longer chases recognition. He lets results build the story. He lets silence fill the air. He lets others talk, speculate, panic, while he plans the next move. That's power without effort. But it's earned through years of control. And the irony started with playing dirty. They know what you're capable of, so they fear what you might do. You don't have to move loudly, you just have to move once, and precisely. The whisper of your name becomes enough to influence decisions. People think twice before speaking against you. They think 3 times before crossing you. This is where the rules shift entirely. You're no longer reacting to the world reacts to you. You walk into rooms differently. You speak less, but say more. You're not quick to correct, but when you do, it ends the conversation. People want your attention, not to challenge, but to align. They want your favor, not for validation, but because being on your side means survival. Because while others built reputations on being agreeable, nice, soft, you built yours on dominance, decisiveness, unpredictability. They were praised, you were feared. But when it came time to make decisions that mattered, you were the one who was asked. You were the one who moved. Eventually, the man who plays dirty reaches a point where he no longer needs to strike often. He simply needs to exist. His name creates pressure. His silence causes speculation. His presence shapes the room. Because by now, the game is no longer about tactics. It's about reputation. It's about myth. And the most dangerous men in any empire aren't the loudest. They're the ones whispered about. This is the level Machiavelli aimed for. Not just temporary control, permanent influence. And that kind of influence isn't built on charm. It's built on fear, precision, and unforgettable positioning. You don't just win the game, you become the game. You become the standard, the example, the man others warn their allies about before making a move. That only happens when your previous actions were so decisive, so brutal, so impossible to ignore, that they echo forward. You cut once, but they feel it for years. You betrayed once, but they never trust the same way again. You disappeared once, but your absence still commands more presence than their daily noise. That's not popularity. That's power. Power that doesn't beg. Power that doesn't explain. Power that doesn't ask for trust. It installs fear and respect in its place. But you can only reach that level if you stop playing for fairness. You must play for finality. You must accept that your power must be protected at the cost of being misunderstood, that your strategy must outweigh your desire to be liked, that your legacy cannot be shaped by comfort. It must be carved through consequence. And the man who understands this no longer chases recognition. He lets results build the story. He lets silence fill the air. He lets others talk, speculate, panic, while he plans the next move. At this level, even your restraint becomes a weapon. They know what you're capable of, so they fear what you might do. You don't have to move loudly, you just have to move once, and precisely. The whisper of your name becomes enough to influence decisions. People think twice before speaking against you. They think 3 times before crossing you. That's power without effort. But it's earned through years of control. And the irony? It started with playing dirty. Because while others built reputations on being agreeable, nice, soft, you built yours on dominance, decisiveness, unpredictability. They were praised. You were feared. But when it came time to make decisions that mattered, you were the one who was asked. You were the one who moved. This is where the rules shift entirely. You're no longer reacting to the world. The world reacts to you. You walk into rooms differently. You speak less, but say more. You're not quick to correct, but when you do, it ends the conversation. People want your attention, not to challenge, but to align. They want your favor, not for validation, but because being on your side means survival. Machiavelli understood that men follow power, even when they pretend not to. They criticize you in public, but follow you in private. They mock your methods, then imitate them. They resist your rise until it's more beneficial to support you. And you must be ready for this shift, because this level comes with isolation. You'll have fewer people around you, but they'll be stronger, sharper, more loyal, not because they love you, but because they fear irrelevance without you. That's not emotional support, it's strategic alignment. And if you're wise, you treat it as such. You don't seek friends in positions of power. You seek leverage. You reward usefulness. You punish betrayal quickly. You don't carry dead weight. You don't explain disloyalty. You end it. You don't tolerate gossip. You remove it, because the higher you rise, the more costly softness becomes. Your enemies will never be gone. They will just hide, watching, waiting, pretending. The moment you grow lazy, sentimental, apologetic, they will return. And that's why the most powerful men are never relaxed, never sloppy, never unaware. They may smile, they may entertain, but underneath, they are calculating, because they know everything they've built can be taken by a single mistake. One act of mercy given to the wrong person, one explanation offered to someone with no loyalty, one apology that signals weakness, so they don't give it. They operate with precision. They protect their image like a throne. They speak with purpose. They move with caution. And most of all, they maintain the myth. Because once you become myth, you don't just play the game. You define it. This is the final lesson of playing dirty. It was never about being evil. It was about being undeniable. In a world that lies to your face while smiling, being clean makes you prey, but being strategic, being calculated, patient, and willing to do what others won't, makes you a ruler. Machiavelli didn't glorify cruelty. He exposed reality. He revealed how the world really works, stripped of its illusions. And once you see the world through his eyes, you can never go back to being naive. You can't pretend fairness exists. You can't pretend loyalty is free. You can't pretend people will treat you right just because you treat them right. You must become intentional with your words, your alliances, your boundaries, your silence. You must be prepared to cut people off without hesitation, to punish betrayal without regret, to move alone if the mission demands it, because power respects those who are self-sufficient, detached, composed. This is the man the world bows to, the one who doesn't chase, who doesn't beg, who doesn't flinch. He may appear silent, but his presence makes noise. And now the question is, are you ready to become that man? Are you ready to stop expecting rewards for being nice? Are you ready to stop playing clean while the world plays dirty? Are you ready to stop watching weaker men rise simply because they move with more audacity? If the answer is yes, then here's where you begin. You stop defending yourself. You stop justifying your instincts. You stop seeking fairness from people who would use it against you. You start building your presence. You start studying leverage. You start tracking loyalty with a colder eye. You give less and demand more. Because your value isn't proven by your kindness, it's proven by your control. And that control begins with choosing power over purity. You don't have to lie constantly. You don't have to hurt recklessly. But you must be willing to act with precision. Ruthlessness isn't chaos, it's clarity. It's the ability to make hard decisions quickly, to eliminate threats early, to control perception before it controls you. That's how you become dangerous. And in this world, danger, quiet, composed, disciplined danger is respected more than virtue ever will be. So no, you don't need to become a villain. You just need to stop being a victim. Let others keep posting their virtue. Let them play fair and finish last. Let them sleep peacefully, knowing they never played dirty while you dominate the game they never learned to play. This is not cruelty. This is survival. The strong protect themselves. The powerful guard their empire. The silent men who move with intent. Those are the ones who last. And if you followed this far, you're not just curious. You're ready. So say it clearly. Say it without fear. Say it in the comments. I move in silence, and I win in shadows. Let the others keep trying to be pure. You're becoming something else. Not louder, just sharper. Not emotional, just unshakable. Not evil, just in control. And that control, it's what separates those who get played from those who rule. You know what to do next. Watch the next video, because this story isn't over, it's just beginning.